Hello and welcome back to Key Issue Club. My name is Jordan and today we are reviewing a comic book, but not just any old comic book. It is the new Summer of Supergirl Special issue number 1. It says issue number 1, but in reality we all know there's just one of these because it's a special edition. So we're going to delve into it, get into it, see what it's about, see what I liked, see what I didn't like, the cover, the artwork, and much more. So let's get into it and let's get talking about Summer of Supergirl Special issue number 1. So the quiet town of Midvale is shaken to its core when Supergirl finds herself face to face with the galactic bounty hunter Lobo. Can the Maiden of Might stand up to the main man? There's also 2 bonus stories celebrating Supergirl as she resumes her rightful place as the heir to L. So yeah, I don't know if you gathered that from that synopsis there. I call it synopsis, overview, whatever you want to call it. That it is snippets of stories. So there's the main story, and then there's a couple of others from different, should we say, main stories of Supergirl, or other ones as there is. So with this video, I am going to call it Summer of Supergirl, because to call it Summer Supergirl Special, it's just too long. So we're going to go Summer of Supergirl. So with the Summer of Supergirl comic, so I picked this up in the local comic book store, and it is part of my comic haul video that I've done on TikTok recently. So if you haven't watched already, it will be in the description. So go give that a watch, because I tend to do my hauls on TikTok because it's not long enough for YouTube, shall we say. In my mind anyway. But going off of that, we're talking about Summer of Supergirl, 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 Summer of Supergirl. And yeah, as I said, went to the local comic book store and I wasn't actually looking for this issue because I had already ordered some, as I mentioned in the TikTok video. I wasn't really on the lookout for any in particular, but in the comic book store, they have a wall of all like latest editions, latest issues and stuff like that. And as you'll have seen, there was 2 that stood out to me, and that is Summer of Supergirl Special and Dork, however you pronounce it, Dork, issue number 1. I think it's like the 5th or 6th or 4th, 5th or 6th printing. But in all honesty, I'm not really too fussed about if it's the 100th printing, as long as I get to read it. But like I said, today we're talking about this one, not Dork. But I just thought I'd mention that. But yeah, so when I was looking, I did see this one stand out to me. There's 3 options. So there was cover A, which is this one. There was, I believe, cover B and cover C. I could be completely wrong there. And in all honesty, I tend to normally go variant editions because they usually, to me, look a bit better than cover A. But in this instinct, cover A just stood out and looked a lot better than cover B and cover C, which is surprising actually. And it just really caught my eye. It was colourful, it had funky artwork, it had the shark with the bra on, it had Lobo and Lobo's daughter, I believe, and Superman, well, like a young Superman and Crypto and stuff. And I just love the blue, I love the red, I just love the colours that popped out on this. It has the, going like this, wee-woo. It has the classic super, I don't want to say Superman because it's Supergirl, but the Superman sort of like, you know, lettering, and it has that Supergirl feel to it with the sort of, I want to say it's like marker pen type writing as well, because on the movie, which when this comes out we'll have seen it, but right now as of filming this we are watching it tomorrow, so I don't know anything of the film. But what I know is that the font work there that's being used on it and stuff is similar to this as well. So it kind of works hand in hand, and it just, it's a cohesive, you know, sort of thing, which is very, very good. As well, what stood out for me on this one as well is, like I said, featuring Supergirl versus Lobo. And in all honesty, I am well looking forward to watching Supergirl with Lobo, because Lobo is being played by the amazing Jason Momoa, which I absolutely love, because I loved him as Aquaman, but he wasn't quite the right fit for Aquaman, because Aquaman doesn't have long hair, is known for being blonde, is known for, you know, not being shall we say, as bulky as Jason Momoa. And I think Lobo is the perfect fit for him. So, getting into this, the top 3 things that I did like about this, and one of the main ones that I did like was the lettering for like specific characters when announcing them. So when Lobo appeared, you had the classic Lobo logo, that's like on the comics and stuff. And then when Supergirl was introduced, there was the Supergirl logo as well. Not the Supergirl logo like on the films or this one, it was one of the specific comic type ones. Yeah, I don't know how else to explain it. It was just a classic type one, which is pretty good. Which I thought was pretty cool because, like, you know, you sort of put that logo with that character and you sort of put 2 together, you know who's who type thing. It's really good because if it was just normal lettering, it would just be a bit, you know, lost. Whereas that really stood out and, you know, made you a bit more interested into it. You know, like, it's like, oh, that's exciting. That's pretty cool. That's pretty fun. So that was pretty damn good. And then secondly, in one of the stories, I think it's the final one, there is a bit of a spoiler here, but it's not giving too much away because it's already in the main stories. There was the introduction of Shazam, and I only know Shazam from the movie, and Shazam is male, and I'm not saying anything bad about this at all, but Shazam was female, so I don't know how to put it. I don't know if there's different variations of Shazam, or if Shazam's just one person, or I don't know. I don't know what's going on after. I don't know if it's a bit like, you know, Green Lantern, where there's different versions of Green Lantern. I don't know if it's a bit like that. But anyway, nothing bad about that. I actually really enjoyed it. Like, that was fun to read. It was a bit heartwarming, actually, because basically they're both orphans. So Supergirl and Shazam are orphans, and they basically just need each other to be like big sisters type thing and have that sort of big sister energy. And I think that's what came through really well on that final. My arms are going like this. What came through on that final story within this comic book, which I thought was like really, like I said, really heartwarming, really nice, and a great story overall. And I've just realised, I said it was the final story, and it wasn't. I think it was the one before the final. I remember now. Haha, I remember. The final thing that I liked about this was that there was little snippets of each, of different Supergirl stories. And I feel like this was good because it gave you sort of like an overview. It's like a preview type thing of those stories, and you can get an insight into it. And it's sort of like a teaser, you know, sort of like a, oh, there's this. And then, you know, if I want to continue reading it, I can, because I've read a bit. I like that. Let's go read it. But on the flip side of that, it is a bit of a downfall. And that's where we get into the 3 things that I disliked about this comic. And unfortunately, there is 3. Usually, I don't really have anything bad to say about a comic, but there was a few things I disliked. And that snippet aspect of it was a downfall for me, was a dislike for me. It's good for like teaser stuff, but the downside of it is that, how to put it, I kind of expected it to be its own thing. And you had the snippets, and I thought, great, okay. But then you were getting into it, and you're like, oh yeah, this is a great story. This is a great story, reading like that. And then it goes, this is continued in Supergirl. And it's like, okay, well, that's just ended abruptly. So it was a bit let down on that side of things, but it's also good. So there's like pros and cons to it, as I've said. So yeah, I think for me personally, I think it's more of a let down, because I expected a full story of like, you know, something individual, something specific to this, but it was snippets. And as well, the second thing that I didn't like about this was that, in all honesty, it wasn't as gripping as I thought it would be. And I don't know if that's because of the snippets and it's switching between stories. It's not like switching each time, like it goes from one to another to another. And honestly, I just think it wasn't as gripping as I've just said, as it could have been. And I don't know if that's because it's not my type of thing. Well, Supergirl is my type of thing. I love Supergirl, and I love Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow and stuff like that. But I don't know if like the snippet type comics, like this are my thing, because I just wasn't gripped. I was getting distracted, like, you know, I wasn't fully in it. And yeah, I was a bit, I think it's more because of the snippets, to be honest. And finally, the last thing that I disliked about this was, and I did mention this just now, it wasn't a standalone. I thought this was a standalone story, and unfortunately it was snippets. And I was a bit disappointed by that because I wasn't sure about this. I didn't know about this, but it's probably on me that, to be fair. But yeah, if this was just a standalone story and it was something different, I think it would have been a 5 out of 5. But yeah, the story is good. Don't get me wrong, the stories are great, but it just wasn't gripping for me. It wasn't, as interesting. And I think if I was to read the stories on their own, like in their own comics, they'd be great. But together, it just feels a bit like, you got conned a bit. Just a little bit. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. But reading reviews on League of Comic Geeks, some are saying it's great, and then a lot of them saying what I'm saying, which is, the snippets aren't as gripping. It was a bit lackluster, and yeah, which is a bit disappointing overall. So this leads me into would I recommend it? And there's two sides I look at this, and we'll go with a positive first. Or should we go negative? Let's go negative first, then go into a positive. So the negative is it wouldn't be one that I'd be boasting about, and I think that's due to, like I've said, the things. It's not gripping. It's got the snippets, and it's not a individual, storyline. However, on the flip side of that, if somebody was looking to get into Supergirl and wanted to have a bit of a preview of stories, this would be perfect because you get the insights into different individual comics, and it, like I said, gives you that preview, and if you enjoy it, go buy the comic, you know what I mean? So I've just said, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And yeah, so it's good. There's good aspects, and there's negative aspects. So overall, if you was to ask me right now, hold me hostage and say, would you recommend it? I would say no. And that is disappointing because the artwork is incredible. If you're looking for the artwork and the cover, go for it. It's incredible. This is going to look great, propped up somewhere, like maybe there or whatever. It's just an incredible cover. Love it. And that's the reason why I was drawn to it, to be fair, because of the cover. And in my previous review video, I do say, would I continue reading the series? Well, no, I wouldn't. And the reason for that is because this is the only one in the series, because it's a special edition. It's a special one. So it's just a one-off, one-shot type thing. So there is none of us to read. And that's it. That's it, really. It's not because, I didn't like her or anything. It's because it's the only one. The only one. The only one. The only one in the series. And now, I bet you're wondering, what would I rate it out of 5 stars? In all honesty, on League of Comic Geeks, I put down, because I read this earlier in preparation for this review, and I want to read it anyway, just see what it's like. And I put down 3 out of 5 stars. And the reason why I put that and not lower or higher is because, as I've mentioned, it's got its pros and it's got its cons. It's good for the snippets in terms of, like, if you want to preview it and get into Supergirl and read those stories, great. But then on the flip side of that, it's snippets and the end, and you can't continue reading. And it's not as gripping and what have you, but it is great for, as I said, getting into Supergirl, and the artwork is incredible, the cover is incredible, the lettering is incredible, the logos, I was going to say logos, but it's logos, are incredible. So there is pros and there is cons. It's not all negative, so that's why I rated it 3 out of 5 stars. Unfortunately, I think overall, I wasn't as thrilled as I thought I would be with this comic book. So yeah, that's the video. Let's keep it on a positive. Let's keep it on a positive. And let's end the video on a positive. Because cover, great. Lettering, great. Artwork, great. There you go, positive. Positive on repeat. Positive on repeat. Because I'm repeating myself. Positive on repeat. Right. Let's end the video, because that is the video. That is the review. So if you like the video, please do like, subscribe, and comment. And this video was all about Summer of Supergirl Special, issue number 1. Well, it's the only one. So yeah, thank you again, and I will see you, where's this going? And I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.